The first matter selected for topical issues in the name of Deputy Sean Kyne, the need to ensure adequate fire service provision for the South Connemara area. The Deputy has 4 minutes to make initial statement. Thank you.
Trúna chuna chás tábhachtach do Connemara Haas a phlé an ceartútá daoine eile a gáilmh sé sin stáisiún dóiteán sa ceantar. Ní leis agam cén fágur tharla sé go bhfuil seacht stáisiún dóiteán gáilmh thar ach ní le ceann amháin Connemara sa chlocháin agus an príomh stáisiún na cathair na gáilmhe atá freastal ar Connemara Haas. Níl me sé agus ceapam nach bhfuil aon palaitiúr a Connemara sásta nó gáilmh híor sásta leis an seirbhís seo. Níl mé chun 1 milliún orsa ara faoi seo mar ní mhór an rinn aon iarratas ó chomhla chundan na gáilmhe maidir le seo. Bhí an cás os cór cruinniú de chomhla chundan na gáilmhe geluúin agus rinne na chomhlóirí Kyne chun iarratas a dhéanamh chuig an rinn cóthíil faoi seo. Bhí cruinniú agan ar an catharúa cúpla seachtainna hin agus dúirt mise an cruinniú sin go bhéadh ar an chomhla chunda an airgid lá go lá chun aon seirbhís a chur fháil agus chun pá an aireann dóiteána a íoc. Níl am cínte bhfuil an banisteoir nó an fordan banisteach sásta é sin a dhéanamh fós. An ceistantá agamsa nó ar mhór tú iarratas fós agus nuair a dhéanaan an chomhla chunda iarratas an bhéadúin an breanúiste a Gotex Airgid Capital chun stáisiún nua a thógáil. Agus freisin chun cead a thabhairt chuig an chomhla chunda chun forann don stáisiún nua a fustú cé go bhfuil moratórium nó stop curta ar daoine nua sa seirbhís poiblí. Tá sé ráite freisin ag an príomhfheidhmeannach údarás na Gaeltachta go bhfuil sé sásta síos leis an chomhla chunda agus an rinn chun síomh feiliúnach a aimsiú agus tá seanfeirniú acu a bheith feiliúnach freisin. I'd like to welcome the Minister and state that initially that there are 7 fire stations in the eastern part of County Galway and only 1 in Connemara and Clifton, and of course the main station in Galway City which serves part of South Connemara. Comparatively, there are 5 in County Leitrim, 16 in County Donegal. I think Galway, this section of Connemara is one of the most poorly served areas in the country in terms of a fire service. Now, I'm certainly not blaming you, Minister, for this. No application has been yet received by your department, I understand, from the County Council. Now, there was a meeting of the County Council on Monday in relation to the fire service, and a decision was made by councillors at that stage to seek formally an application to the department, to your department, for a fire service in the area. I was in Carrow, Minister, a number of weeks ago where there was over 200 attended a public meeting held by Cush the Carta Connemara, and they have had an ongoing campaign for a number of years, about 20 years, in relation to the provision of a fire service. At that meeting, I stated that the day-to-day running costs of any new fire station would have to be borne by the County Council themselves from their own budgets, and also that the running costs of the station would be borne, but obviously the capital costs would be a matter for the department. At that meeting also the principal officer of Údarás na Gaeltachta, Steve O'Coolan, stated that they would be happy to sit down with the County Council, with the RIN, to look at a suitable site in the area that they may have, and that they have old buildings and old units that are not in use that could be looked at and could possibly be suitable. So that's a positive on that in terms of the costs. Minister, we look at the geography of Connemara, and I'll finish with this. According to the AA route planner, from Carrow to Galway City via Furbo is 1 hour 13 minutes. From Letchermullen to Galway via Furbo is 1 hour 36 minutes. That's too far a distance to provide a safe fire service for the people of South Connemara.
I now call the Minister for Environment, Community, Local Government, Deputy Phil Hogan.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ines Conforla, and I wish to thank Deputy Kyne for raising this matter, which he has on a number of occasions with me. The provision of a fire service in its functional area, including the establishment and maintenance of a fire brigade, the assessment of fire cover needs, the provision of premises, and the making of other such provisions as it considers necessary or desirable, is, in the first instance, a statutory function of the individual fire authorities under the provisions of the 1981 and 2003 Fire Services Act. Furthermore, under Section 26 of the Fire Services Act 1981, each fire authority which maintains a fire brigade is required to prepare plans for fire and emergency operations and revise these as occasion arises. These plans include provision in respect of fire stations. The making and revision of these plans is a reserved function of the local authority, and in this case Galway County Council, and I therefore have no function in that part of the decision. While the Department supports fire authorities through the setting of general policy and guidance and the provision of capital funding, including the recoupment of costs incurred by fire authorities in relation to the approved purchase of fire appliances and specialist emergency and communications equipment, as well as construction and upgrading of fire stations. In 2010, the Galway City and Western Environments Fire Review Group was established to consider the fire cover in Galway City and the Western Environments, which included South Connemara, as well as the West Connemara area. The group comprised representatives of Galway City Council, Galway County Council, the Chief Fire Officer for Galway City and County, the National Directorate for Fire and Emergency Management, and an external advisor from Strathclyde Fire and Rescue Service in Scotland. As part of the review, the group specifically examined the adequacy of fire cover in the South Connemara-Oughterard area. The group used a risk-based approach which had regard to the risk categorisation process as set out in Keeping Communities Safe. This document was adopted as national policy in February 2013 and is based on a risk management approach which addresses the critical elements of fire prevention, protection and response. It sets out an integrated approach to fire safety and to fire services generally in Ireland, which is in keeping with best international practice. All fire authorities are currently undertaking the risk categorisation for their areas. The group finalised its review in June 2013. It considered 3 years of actual fire incident data, which included the number of emergency calls, the emergency type and their locations. It also considered potential changes in demographics and the various potential fire station permutations throughout the Western Environments area. The group found that there is not a conclusive case for an additional fire station in South Connemara, Oughterard during that review. It recommended a series of community fire safety measures to further enhance the safety from fire of residents in the area. These include fire safety awareness on all fire safety issues such as home fire safety, controlled burning, wildland gorse fires, etc. Community safety advocates and a smoke alarm campaign were considered. I understand that a report on this matter has been made to Galway County Council outlining their findings and the number of future steps required. The matter of adequacy of a fire service provision for the South Connemara area is a statutory function of the Fire Authority, and plans for fire and emergency operations in this area are the reserved function of Galway County Council. And I am a bit surprised that Galway County Council has not prioritised this matter over the years in their fire service planning. Indeed, I had many public representatives in the Connemara area who could have made money available for this facility over those years, but chose not to do so. So perhaps Galway County Council could engage with my department and be mindful of this facility in the context of the 2014 estimates, because at the end of the day, any request to my department from the Council for financial assistance in respect of fire service provision, it has to be assessed on the basis of the overall budgetary situation of the Council. We haven't a hell of a lot of money in relation to fire services and capital monies in particular for any particular part of the country at the moment. Any assistance provided would have to be part funding, but we'd have to see the commitment of the County Council in the first instance to demonstrate project development and commitment from local funding provisions in the 2014 estimates.
Connemara. Now, Deputy Kyne has 2 minutes for a supplementary statement.
I'd like to thank the Minister for his reply and acknowledge my colleague, Deputy Nolan, who has expressed a lot of interest in this area as well. I appreciate your response, and I understand the situation, and as I stated, I did say at that meeting in Carrow that I wasn't sure of the commitment of the manager and indeed the management team in terms of this whole area and in terms of they being able to come up with the running costs and the day-to-day costs of the running of any new station, and also the paying of wages of any retained fire service. So I understand where you're coming from in terms of County Council having to show a commitment in terms of their budget. You're right in terms of the report that was issued. Now, the option of building a new station was looked at and examined, and it was stated that it has a number of advantages, or two advantages. The first one, that the units located in the Western Environments area would give a quicker response, and that public expectation would probably be met. disadvantages in terms of difficult to withdraw once a decision is made, would take considerable time to become functional, but I mean people have waited this long, and certainly they need to see it built as a matter of urgency, and considerable cost implications as detailed both initially and ongoing basis. I stated earlier that the Údarás na Gaeltacht are willing to engage with the County Council and the Department in terms of some of the old buildings that they would have in the area to see and investigate the possibility of using those. I think that's a welcome initiative and something that should be looked at. But I again would urge the Minister that when an application comes in, to engage positively with the County Council, with Údarás and with local community groups to provide this service. You're right, I don't know why this service hasn't been provided heretofore. It is a very obvious gap in terms of provision of fire service within our county. It's one that's very difficult to justify. I mentioned the journey times there of up to an hour and a half or an hour and 36 minutes from Letchermullen to Galway City in relation to fire service on a very poor road which has high accident history. So again, I would urge Minister, and thank you for your response, and urge you to engage with the County Council positively and proactively to see can we find a solution to ensure that the provision of a fire service is achieved in as fastest time as possible.
Thank you, Deputy. Minister Hogan has 2 minutes to reply.
Well, I know that Deputy Kyne understands very well that I've inherited a lot of legacy issues in relation to rural areas, and one of them happens to be South Connemara Fire Station. And it's amazing that I have to resolve a lot of the issues at a time when we have very difficult financial position, when others who had plenty of money couldn't do so. And I think in the first instance, Galway County Council has to engage with the department on the basis that they have new information to offer or new resources to put to the case of providing this service, but it also has to be justified. And Deputy Kyne mentioned in the context of his contribution that Údarás na Gaeltacht now are anxious to get involved and assist with Galway County Council in providing a facility for South Connemara in respect of fire safety and fire provision. So that is new information that perhaps I would advise Deputy Kyne that if we could get a comprehensive plan in place between all of the state agencies and bodies that have an interest in providing a fire service in South Connemara, that they will actually put that on paper, get agreement from the local authority, or in the first instance have to make an application to the department. Of course, based on the reserved function of the local authority members, they have to approve it, and then I will consider this application in the context of the 2014-2015 financial programme.